You can throw all the temper tantrums you want, but this is the reality. Fortnite was the most played game of 2023 across the board, and that is likely to continue in 2024. But more so, gaming hours have been dominated by games that are 7 years or older, with the exception of Call of Duty. Games like Grand Theft Auto 5, Roblox, and Minecraft are the games that are at the top of gaming. And this seems to be against what has actually been going on in the gaming space, as it has grown to $93.5 billion in 2023. But clearly only a select few are actually getting that money. Flame078 here, the normal gamer, breaking down gaming from the average perspective. And today, I want to review Newzoo's newly published report on the PC and console gaming space in 2023. Let me throw you some key stats from the report. 66 games accounted for 80% of the playtime recorded in 2023. 60% of playtime recorded was spent on games 6 years or older. 5 games which accounted for 27% of all playtime in 2023. Games like Fortnite, Roblox, League of Legends, Minecraft, and Grand Theft Auto 5. 23% of playtime went to new games, which was defined as 2 years or younger. But the issue is half of this playtime went to annual releases like Call of Duty and any of the sports titles. So really only 8% of playtime went to new games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Diablo 4. Fortnite dominated across the board on all platforms in terms of monthly active users. In all honesty, this is not surprising in the least. Think about it for a second. How many times have I preached this? Normal gamers have a huge enemy, and that is time. Now that the pandemic is over, most of us are losing game time, and the report is showing that this will continue being a trend for the foreseeable future. And of course, you have your breakdowns of the type of gamers, those that buy a $500 machine to play sports game and maybe one shooter, and then those who are actually jumping around from game to game. Both, however, suffer with the time issue, so in the end, that kind of breakdown is a bit irrelevant. If you're calculating these stats by monthly active user, then again, it's only going to paint a certain picture. What games would a monthly active base metric be important to? Live service games. And what have these stats shown? That live service games are king. Rarities like Baldur's Gate 3, for example, work because of the breadth of replayability and just the nature of role-playing games. These games will and eventually not have monthly users. They are not producing new content. Essentially, role-playing games do get the best of both worlds because they start off with a big gallon of content that will take time, but then with a few drops of DLC, for example, in the case of Cyberpunk, you get to refill that gallon and move on. But that MAU metric is something that will die down eventually. But don't get it twisted. Games may be consolidating in terms of types of games being released and maybe some genres, but gamers are still playing a variety of titles, and that trend has only been going up as seen in the chart here. But the thing is, it's not that there are going to be more gamers down the line, it's actually going to slow down. So you have a $93 billion market that has a finite group of people. What are new games competing with then? And more importantly, what is realistically going to be the move for the game publishers and game makers? And some of you may not like where this is going to go. Well, the study shows new games have to take players from Fortnite and Roblox, at least long enough to make an impact. They are fighting behemoths because these games not only produce their own content, but user-generated content pulls a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, looking at the player counts for the variety of different modes in Fortnite, which by the way, did I mention how much I love this fucking feature? I wish all games did this. Anyways, in this attention time market, that is a really huge uphill battle. On top of that, data shows some genres took a hit in terms of playtime from gamers. The most popular genre, the first-person shooter, saw a dip in playtime, but it's still really popular. So a new first-person shooter doesn't seem like it's going to be risky to try and get into the market. The Finals is a great example of this. However, look at the hero shooter genre. That went down 11%, and that already has been declining in popularity over the years. So when I see Marvel Rivals on the horizon, I feel that is a bigger gamble. So what is that rhetoric that gets spouted all the time online? Nothing new is coming out. Gaming is trash. Everything feels the same. Oh my god, another remake or remaster. And what have been the typical replies there? Clearly you're not looking for new games. Stop with the Call of Duty brain rot, bro. But the thing is, there is kind of some semblance of truth with that rhetoric continuing on. Game publishers have safe bets by using existing brands, IPs, gaming franchises, because it is proven to work. Look at OG Fortnite and what the nostalgia lens did during that period. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Resident Evil 4 Remake show that these big companies who have long libraries can find massive success in redoing rather than inventing. By just the MAU metric, the top 50 games are coming from established franchises. So if you want to break the creme de la creme, look at what these 5 titles did and ask yourself, what have they done and what can be replicated? But even if you're not going for, say, the top 50, getting to the top 250 then makes it a little bit easier because then it's about 50-50 in terms of success. And again, only by using this MAU metric. Hey, if you appreciate this breakdown, supporting me by hitting that like button and leaving a comment down below will massively help. And I drop shorter clips on a daily basis, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. However, you can score this free report on the PC and console market by going to Newzoo and requesting one, link down below. It was a pretty fascinating read. I didn't cover everything, but there were some neat things about mobile gaming and also data about emerging markets. What is considered successful? I also ranted about this before. We cannot and should not consider these live service games as the bar. They are literally an outlier. And also, by that means, MAU is a really stupid metric to narrow down these arguments. Most games have maybe a couple of months of life, but most games do and should end. You play it and you put it down. I think it is completely unreasonable to have studios make forever games, because by that logic, Palworld is not a success. As times go on, I'm sure it's going to have an even lower MAU average per month due to the fact of limited content. But then again, a studio making almost $500 million where the studio CEO goes, I don't know what to do with this money. Like, come on, let's get serious. That's not a failure. No matter the hype of the game, you see a trend of MAU going down, with maybe some spikes as time go on, but in essence, these titles did capture lightning in the bottle, so new games still do have a chance. For example, the study talks about the payer overlap, which is, in layman terms, shared player market and how likely they will spend on other titles. Take Palworld players. It was shown that they were more likely to get into games like Enshrouded, which makes sense, it's another survival RPG, but also games like Baldur's Gate 3 and The Finals. And as a side note, I'm the perfect example of this. I bought and spent money on Baldur's Gate 3, The Finals, and Enshrouded. And to me, what is funny is that this goes to show why the Call of Duty brain rot and the sports game weirdos are kind of awful for gaming. Not because they're bad people or anything like that. Do you, baby, have fun. You're an amazing person. But if their population is the majority, then when you look at this, don't you think games trying to target their demographic is kind of a lost cause? Those active players seem to be the least likely to play anything else. So then games like X Defiant, well, I feel things just got way bleaker for this supposed Call of Duty killer. This is all to say is what makes Helldivers 2 continued success something to admire. They have captured lightning in a bottle, breaking some serious ground. But I also expect more failures like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Like, bro, like, come on, why does this game even exist? And Skull and Bones. Geez, honestly, looking at this game, I kind of want to pick up Sea of Thieves. That's how bad this game looks. I also expect more remakes or remasters. Publishers are going to go where they can follow the money. They will be mixing and matching good and bad monetization practices, so we need to stay on our toes. I think defining success by the limited lens that is monthly active user paints a one-sided picture. Of course then, by those means, live service games would be and are king. These are the games that are expected to have highly monthly active user bases. But if gamers are losing game time, that means they value what they play even more. That means sticking to what they enjoy, whether that be the same type of shooter or genre of games, or if the games are marketed well, you pique the interest of someone who is willing to experiment. But even having those factors aligned, the biggest thing is you need to make a fucking fun game. Flame078 here, the normal gamer. Until next time, adios.